Alright guys, if you remember last video, which was the only other video so far on this channel, we went and bought this kayak. It's a New Canoe Pursuit 13.5-foot kayak. We tooled around in the creek behind my house for a little bit and talked about maybe doing the Gulf Coast ICW. So this is 6 weeks later. Obviously, I'm planning to go do the ICW now. Starts in Brownsville and goes all the way over to east of Panama City Beach, Florida. It's about 1,100 miles, and I want to do as much of it as possible in the next 30 to 45 days. So last 6 weeks, this is what I've come up with, and today we're going to go do a shakedown trip. Probably do an overnighter and see how the whole thing goes. So 3 major systems I wanted to highlight while everything is still apart now before I get it loaded up in the truck and then get there and put everything back together, getting it out in the water. So the 3 big systems are going to be the trolling motor, the reverse osmosis water maker, turns seawater into fresh drinking water, and then the electrical, solar panels, batteries, and all that kind of stuff, charge controllers. So I'll start in the front real quick and work my way back and just give the kind of high-level overview. And then I'm going to do detailed videos on all of these things. If there's something particular you want to know more about, please put it in the comments below. Otherwise, I'm just going to do things in whatever order I want because I'm the only one that cares, I guess. All right, starting up in the front is a 12-volt, 55-pound thrust Haaswing trolling motor. This is not the GPS version. This is just it does have a wireless controller, but that's the only awesome feature, I guess you would say. It doesn't have the GPS, which gives you heading lock and waypoint navigation, which actually I don't think this one did waypoint navigation. I think you could just do heading lock with it. I could be mistaken, but anyway, this isn't that version. So I did pay for the quick release mount, and I also got the foot controller, which I hacked into a hand controller. So you can see there's buttons on the side for left, right, speed up, speed down, and then on the other side is the motor on off. And back here is a button I just added this morning. I did add heading lock using an Arduino microcontroller and a magnetometer, which basically gives you a heading, and then control the pins for the left, right through the Arduino based on the heading. So that'll be a whole nother video if you're interested. You know, like I said, drop a comment below. But I'm going to do more on that anyway. I got video hacking that whole thing and how I did it. So VHF radio, talk to lock operators, gate operators, got GPS tracking, which is going to be on our companion website, solarkayaking.com. Down here we got the Outriggers. I just added those and don't know how they're going to work yet, but when I took this out to do some watt measurements, I realized I wanted that extra stability, so we got the 2 Outriggers now for that. Moving back, we got our drawer for our quick access stuff. While we're sitting in our chair, we can get fishing tackle, bug spray, sunblock, toiletries, that kind of stuff. We've got some rain gear under the seat if we need it. And then the reverse osmosis water maker, which is going to be, I think some people are going to have some questions about, and I'm going to go in depth in future videos. But there is a power converter, DC to AC here, which powers the pressure washer. This is a Lowe's pressure washer. And the way it works is it sucks in water over there. The hose is going to be in the water. It's going to come through these pre-filters to get sediment out, and then it's going to push the salt water through. High pressure hose here, about 800 psi into this membrane housing, and then the fresh water is going to come out on that lower spigot, and then the brine water, the super salty solution, is going to come out that top one there. Got a couple hoses there to direct the water where I want it to. And yeah, that's going to be another video, but it works well so far. Don't know how it's going to last long term because some of this stuff isn't exactly marine rated, as you're probably imagining. But I've seen some other people hack these, and they seem to work pretty well. And speaking of working pretty well, that brings us to our third kind of big ticket item here, and that's the solar system. So this is up right now. It's going to go down. That bottom bar will be flush with the deck there. I just kind of got the hood up, if you will, to kind of show you what all is back here. But we got 3 110-watt solar panels. They're put out about 100 watts real world. So you can kind of see how these were put together. Aluminum pipes down here, 1/2-inch pipe here, 3/4-inch pipe back here. I'll do much deeper video on how all this was made if you guys want. Wasn't terribly hard, but you can kind of get the idea here. So those solar panels feed into a charge controller down here, the Victron charge controller. And then inside of here we also have a Venus GX, a BMV 712 on the shunt, so I can measure all my wattage and everything and see how much juice we're using, how much the solar panels are producing, and how much the motors are using. So got that hooked up to 2 lithium iron phosphate batteries. These are 12.8 volt nominals with 100 amp hour capacity. So a total wattage of 2,560 watts. All right, that's basically the system. So the math works out to, and I'm just going to do this real quick. The math is 300 watts off the solar panels. You got about 2,500 watts in the two batteries I'm taking. I may switch to 50s, but right now I think I'm taking the two 100s. So 300 on the panels, 2,500 on the batteries, and this consumes about 220 watts on a speed level setting of 6. That's what I've got so far. This takes about 100 watts to make a gallon of water. So 220 watts. These are pushing 300 into the battery. I should have a surplus. That's what my point here is. I should have a surplus of power on a full bright sunny day, and then the reason you have the battery, so when it's not bright and sunny, you can pull off the batteries to make up for those cloudy days or running at a deficit. But I think I have more than enough juice to power this. I do have a fourth panel. I could build a bracket up here. I've already measured it. I could put a fourth up there on the bow, but I mean, I think I'm getting a little overkill already. All right, speaking of the solar panels and overkill, some people on the forums are saying that this thing is going to fly like an airplane or take off, or I don't know what. There's some pretty heavy naysayers that don't think this is going to work. So I don't know. I'm in uncharted territory as far as this goes. I haven't seen anybody put this much solar on a kayak and then try to push it around with a trolling motor. A lot of people don't think the math is going to work. That I'm just completely off base here, but I don't think I am. A big part of the reason it took me 6 weeks to come up with this was because I had to think about every square inch and where I was going to put things and how things were going to work. And you know, it's been, there's no template to follow anywhere. There's no ideas. I didn't know if I should put the water maker here or back here. I don't know if the weight back here is going to bog me down too much in the back, if I should try to run a battery up to the front. You know, these are things I've been going over constantly in my head. And second guessing. Luckily the seat moves all the way forward and all the way back, so I can adjust my weight on the boat to help compensate. And I think I've got it in a kind of the sweet spot, and that's why I put the solar panel overhead there to kind of help with the shade. And that will actually roll forward and roll backwards. And then other things I had to think about were, is this solar panel going to cast a shadow onto this one? Because if it does, then that's going to greatly diminish the output capacity of the solar panel in the back. So a lot of thought has gone into this, a lot of effort has gone into this, a lot of money has gone into this, and yeah, today's the shakedown, so we're going to head down to the beach and see how it goes. And if everything's good, I'm hoping maybe 2 days from now, I'm loading all this up into a U-Haul. I'm renting a U-Haul to go one way down to Port Isabel, or Brownsville area in Texas, and we'll unload there at a marina, drop off the truck, and then step off onto this little adventure. So yeah, but for now, let's go get this shakedown going. Sunset, we were at Magnolia Beach, and we didn't make it in time to get the kayak set up. It's still in the back of the truck, but we got the tent going, and check this out. Got a cool moon coming up over there. Isn't that something? So it's Magnolia Beach. You can just camp on the beach. It's free, no charge. Pretty sweet. Just got to put up with a few mosquitoes. So we'll get this unloaded tonight. Start getting it prepped a little bit and be ready to go pretty much first thing in the morning. All right, well here we go. Maiden voyage. The wind started blowing just a little bit last night. Maybe a 7-knot wind right now onto the beach. So yeah, first time putting it in with all the weight on it. So this is going to be interesting. And see how she does in the winds. So, maiden voyage, test trial, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, here we go. Working out some things. So around slow. Deal with the remote. This one is Oh my gosh, we didn't get blown right back into shore. Oh, that's crazy. Everybody said it'd get blown right back into shore. Alright. Dial this down a little bit. I'm saying there's quite a bit of water up in the front. Cracking through the wave. Tough to get this thing under control. Alright, so I think we're straight into the waves now. I feel like I'm supposed to have a seatbelt on or something. Try to keep it straight into the waves here. Way more wet than I thought it was. This is what I was saying. This thing is a mess to try to. Here, I'm gonna change the camera so you can see that. But even doing that, it's like, man. Alright, I'm going back because I feel like I'm getting completely swamped and I may be flooding out here. I mean, we're riding low. I don't know if there's what's going on in the back, but we feel really low here. There's quite a bit of water in here. I mean, the whole floor is basically sunk underwater right now. Oh crap, what the hell? The whole thing wants to tip over on me. Yeah, I think we got water. Yeah, that's a lot of water. Not water anymore, that's a lot of water. Everything in bed. This looks like workable. So this is how much water I got in a very short period of time. That's quite a bit, man. I'm very happy I turned around and came back. So calm now. All right, that should be good. I wanted to do a quick wrap-up video for the shakedown cruise here. So it was kind of an eventful morning, but first, Magnolia Beach, Texas is right back here. This is a free beach to camp on. There's some homes out here and stuff, but the beach has public access and they allow people to stay there for up to 2 weeks for free. It's very nice, just south of Port Lavaca, Texas. Again, Magnolia Beach, if you want to check that out. Free bathrooms, showers, and day use picnic tables, so pretty cool. Got in last night about 7:30. Got my tent set up and then kind of got the kayak the way I was going to want it today. Racked out a little bit early, about 9:30 last night, and woke up early this morning with the roosters crowing across the street and beautiful sunrise out there. Everything was just, it was a good night and a good morning.
So I got the tent put away, I got the kayak put together. Overnight a 10-knot wind had developed, so it picked up about maybe 5 knots from what it was yesterday, and I was a little bit apprehensive. The waves were driving onto the shore, and so I was basically going to have to launch through the waves for my first time into a 10-knot wind. And yeah, so it was a little bit like a little dicey. Got in the water, the waves were coming over the bow, so that was really the biggest issue of the day today, was the water coming over the bow. Me thinking that that hatch up there is pretty secure and waterproof. It's not. So that bucket was completely filled with probably 2 gallons of water in the bucket and another 3 gallons of water in the hole, and that was in the span of 1/10 of a mile, like maybe 10 minutes. And I felt like the kayak was getting sluggish and sinking, and something didn't feel right. And so instead of trying to press to the other side of the bay, I headed back to the beach. And I was like, we can just sort this out and figure out what's going on. Something doesn't feel right. Luckily I did. I don't think I would have made it across the bay. We would have had some big issues there after a very short time. So I'm gonna have to put some kind of a deflector up there for the waves, or somehow better weatherproof the hatch, which I don't know how I can do that in a short period of time. I'll have a day or two, but we'll see. I definitely think I could put some kind of deflectors on there. But anyway, got to sort that out. And then other than that, everything was pretty good. Kind of start front to back, talk about the system. So the first is the trolling motor. It did fine, pulling 220 watts as expected. The hand controller is good, but the Arduino code that I wrote for that chip inside of there doesn't work. I need to try to tweak that one more time before we leave, and if it doesn't work, then I'm just going to use this for primary, and I'm going to use the hand controller for alternate. So that's where we're at with the trolling motor. Coming back, the new Outriggers, first time on the water with these Yak Gear Outriggers, and they did very, very well. I don't think I would have kept stability when I had all that water inside had I not had these on. So I'm really glad I decided to put them on. It was a last minute decision that I think has already maybe paid off here. So coming back a little bit more, solar panels, they were good. Once the sun was at about 10:15, I started having a surplus of energy, feeding power into the battery while also running the trolling motor at 220 watts. So that's a speed level setting of 6 on here. That seems to be the sweet spot, and I'm sticking with it for now. So had a surplus of energy though coming off the panels after about 10:30. So maybe 2 hours after we got the water, fished out, bailed out the water. Maybe 2 hours later, it was that the sun started providing that surplus. So that was pretty cool. I did drop one battery, only because I also wanted to lower the weight. I took the bags off, so we're a little bit lighter than we were earlier, but I am going to keep one battery off. I've decided I think I just want to go with one battery for this trip. So I'll think a little more on that, and we'll see. Water maker worked. A little hokey trying to get the switches flipped and stuff, so I may need to tweak that a little bit, but it did work, and I did make about a ½ gallon of water, and I actually need to make some more before I go in because I already drank the whole thing. So really happy with the water maker. Just got to tweak maybe where I'm placing the inverter to turn the switches on and off, so I can do it out here where the water's a little cleaner versus up on the shore where the water's usually a little yuckier. That's about it, man. I was really happy overall. I got to see everything on the apps. I could see my wattages and voltages and things. So pretty cool, pretty good trip. If you want to see specific videos sooner rather than later, because I'm going to do a little bit of everything eventually, but the people that comment down below, I'll do the stuff that y'all are interested first. So if you want to know more about the motor or the solar panels or whatever, post a comment, and that'll help me determine how and when I post things. Other than that, give it a little thumbs up if you like this, and the whole ICW thing, I appreciate it. It helps out the channel, and yeah, share it if you wouldn't mind. So that's all I got. We will see you in the next video. We're probably going to be heading down to Port Isabel to put this thing in the water and go for the long haul. All right, thanks for watching. Well, that's not the off button. Time to do the parking job. Hear that rooster? Yeah, I heard him early this morning. Speed down, that's right, speed down, and stop. Boom. Look at that parking job. Nice.